don't shove, there's room for everybody. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing? All right. So this morning we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam. For me? Thank you. I love it, Carla. Ninth canto. Seventh canto, chapter 9, verse 24, yeah? Okay. We'll get there. Here we are. So the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Amazing chapter. Srila Prabhupada was always telling the story of Prahlad Maharaj. It's obviously his very favorite story. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, this is a somewhat different iambic beat than, say, the verses in Bhagavad Gita. This one's a little bit longer. Drishtva Maya Divi Vibho Kila Dishnya Panam Ayushriyo Vibhava Ichchati Yan Janoyam Yesmat Pitu Kupita Hasa Vidrimbita Bru Vishpurjitena Lulita Satu Te Nirashta. Let's see if I can get this right. Oh, that was yesterday's verse. Okay. Tasmad, same also different iambic beat. Tasmad amus tanubritam aham ashishogya ayu shriyam vibhavam endriyam avirinchat nichchami te vilulitan uruvikramena kalat mano panayamam nijabritya parshvam. Oh, wow. Okay. Tasmat amustanubritam aham ashishugya. Let's see, what would the melody be for that? Dun 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 dun. Okay, thank you, Adi. Tasmat amustanubritam aham ashishogya ayushriyam vibhavamandriyam avirinchat. We're doing the best we can. Nichchami te vilulitan uruvikramena Kalamano panayam. No, let's try that again. Kalatmano panayamam nijabritya parshvam. Okay. I'll try it once more. Tasmadamustanubritam ahamashishogya. Tasmadamustanubritam ahamishishogya. Ayushriyam vibhavamandriyam avirinchat. Ayushriyam vibhavamandriyam avirinchat. Nichchami te vilulitan uruvikramena. Vilulitan uruvikramena. Kala manopanayamam nijabritya parshvam. See, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Right? Practice, practice, practice. Anyone want to try? Tasmadamustanubritam amashishogya. Ayukshiyam vibhavamandriyam avirinchat. Nichchami te vilulitan uruvikramena. Kalatmanopanayamam nijabritya parshvam. Tasmadamustanubritam ahamishu. Ayushriyam vibhavamandriyam avirinchat. Nichchami te vilulitan uruvikramena. Kalatmanopanayamam nijabritya parshvam. Tasmadamustanubritam ahamashishogya. Ayushriyam vibhavamandriyam avirinchat. Nichchami te vilulitan uruvikramena. Kalatmano panayamam nijabritya parshvam. Nice. Okay, synonyms. Tasmat. Therefore. Amu. All these opulences. Tanubritam. With reference to living entities possessing material bodies. Aham. I. Ashisha. Agya. Knowing well the results of such benedictions. Ayu. A long duration of life. Shriyam. Material opulences. Vibhavam. Influence and glories. Aindriyam. All meant for sense gratification. Avarinchat. Beginning from Lord Brahma down to the small ant. Na. Not. Ichchami. I want. Te. By you. Vilulitan. Subject to be finished. Uruvikramena. Who are extremely powerful. Kala Atmana. As the master of the time factor. Upanaya. Kindly take to. Mam. Me. Nija Britya Parshvam. The association of your faithful servant, your devotee. Translation. My dear Lord, now I have complete experience concerning the worldly opulence, mystic power, longevity, and other material pleasures enjoyed by all living entities, from Lord Brahma down to the ant. As powerful time, you destroy them all. Therefore, because of my experience, I do not wish to possess them. My dear Lord, I request you to place me in touch with your pure devotee and let me serve him as a sincere servant. There it is. That's the whole of Krishna consciousness in a nutshell, in one wonderful verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By studying Srimad Bhagavatam, every intelligent man can get experience like that of Prahlad Maharaj through the historical incidents mentioned in this great literature of spiritual knowledge. By following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, one should gain through experience, thorough experience, that all material opulence is perishable at every moment. Even this body, for which we try to acquire so many sensual pleasures, may perish at any time. The soul, however, is eternal. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. That's second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The soul is never vanquished even when the body is destroyed. An intelligent man, therefore, should care for the happiness of the spirit soul, not of the body. Even if one receives a body with a long duration of life, like those of Lord Brahma and other great demigods, it will also be destroyed, and therefore an intelligent man should be concerned with the imperishable spirit soul. To save oneself, one must take shelter of a pure devotee. Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Paye Chakeba. That's Bengali, by the way, not Sanskrit. If one wants to save himself from material nature's onslaughts, which arise because of the material body, one must become Krishna conscious and try to fully understand Krishna. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma cha medibhyam ebam vyoveti tatvata. One should understand Krishna in truth, and this one can do only by serving a pure devotee. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj prays that Lord Nrsingadev place him in touch with a pure devotee and servant, instead of awarding him material opulence. Every intelligent man within this material world must follow Prahlad Maharaj. Mahajano jena gata sapanta. Prahlad Maharaj did not want that Mahajano jena gata sapanta. One should follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans, the great souls. Prahlad Maharaj did not want to enjoy the estate left by his father. Rather, he wanted to become a servant of the Lord. The illusory human civilization that perpetually endeavors for happiness through material advancement is rejected by Prahlad Maharaj and those who strictly follow in his footsteps. There are different types of material opulence, known technically as bhukti, mukti, and siddhi. Bhukti refers to being situated in a very good position, like a position with the demigods in the higher planetary systems, where one can enjoy material sense gratification to the greatest extent. Mukti refers to being disgusted with material advancement and thus desiring to become one with the Supreme. Now, these are all material. Siddhi refers to executing a severe type of meditation, like that of the yogis, to attain 8 kinds of perfection, anima, lagima, mahima, etc. These are described in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. All who desire some material advancement through bhukti, mukti, or siddhi are punishable in due course of time, and they return to material activities. Prahlad Maharaj rejected them all. He simply wanted to engage as an apprentice under the guidance of a pure devotee. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Boy, what an amazing verse this is. Kind of gives the lie to the whole material enterprise. So much endeavor. Ever hear the morning news? What's the index of the well-being of the United States? It's the market report. It's the stock report. Stocks are up. Everything's fine, right? And people are miserable. So in the last chapter, chapter 8, the devas, the demigods, were expressing their thanks for getting back their material goods. Demigods are elevated beings. We offer them all our respects. But here's a quick recap. I don't know whether people prior to me speaking with you today have given you this perspective on it. The Siddhaloka residents, for example, gave thanks for Lord Nrsingadev having restored to them their mystic strength. The Vidyadhara Loka residents gave thanks to Lord Nrsingadev for having restored to them their material goods, their acquired power. The Nagaloka residents gave thanks to Lord Nrsingadev for having given them back their jewels that Nrsingadev had, that Hiranyakashipu had taken from them. The Manus gave thanks to Lord Nrsingadev for restoring their legal authority. The Prajapatis gave thanks for having their right to create good progeny restored to them. The residents of Gandharva were grateful that they could once again sing and dance freely, which had been forbidden by Hiranyakashipu. That happens in some of the Middle Eastern cultures as well. You're not allowed to sing or dance. The inhabitants of Charanaloka said, "We're feeling relief. Thank you. We're finally feeling relief from the tyranny of this demon." The inhabitants of Vaitalika Loka told Lord Nrsingadev, before we used to get a lot of respect for the elegant way we were chanting. So thank you for helping us get our respect back, because we weren't allowed to chant. The Kinnaras said, we were obliged to serve him and we're free now. Thank you for giving us back our freedom. Only the residents of Vaikuntha expressed thanks to Lord Nrsingadev by saying that by destroying this demon, you have acted for the good of the world. This was your special mercy, this gesture. So notice the difference in mentality. Even though the demigods are very elevated beings, their thanks were material for getting some opulence, some material facility back that had been taken away during the Trump regime, the Hiranyakashipu regime. So now in chapter 9, we hear Prahlad's prayers. Prahlad's prayers are different from all of the above. He starts off by saying, I don't even have the right to offer you a prayer. This is the humility of the Vaishnava. I don't even know why I'm trying to do this. I don't even have a right to offer you a prayer. However, I wish to express to you something from my heart. Please calm down. Please give up your angry mood. You've achieved the purpose that you came for. And I, for one, I'm not afraid of you. My situation, Prahlad said, quite maturely for a 6-year-old boy, 5 or 6 years old. He said, my situation is the result of past activities. I accept that the situation I'm in is my karmic allotment from previous lives. And my only real fear, I'm not afraid of your nails, your fangs. I'm not afraid of your, growls. I'm not afraid of anything. What I'm fearful of is rebirth in this material world. And then later on in the 43rd verse, he says, my only concern is for the fools in this world who continue to make plans to be happy here. And then this most glorious verse in the 9th chapter, verse 44, where Prahlad tells him, I don't want any liberation for myself if I can't take all these souls back with me. That's the heart of a Vaishnava, paradukha dukhi. They don't feel any inconvenience for themselves. Tough lesson to learn, because we're all confronting our own particular dilemmas. We can't deny that. And that Krishna consciousness does not recommend that you deny the challenges that life throws you. That's not our philosophy. That's not the culture of Vaishnavism, is to deny that I'm going through these hardships. Not at all. But it's to maintain a sense of priority, you can put it that way. So here's Prahlad saying that my only relief in life is if I can get the association of your devotees. He calls it Hamsa Sangha in the previous. The association of your swan-like devotees. You know why the swan is the metaphor for the pure devotees of the Lord? Yeah? Is anyone not sure? Swans have a chemical compound in the saliva of their beaks that coagulates milk in a combination of milk and water. It'll curdle the milk so that they can just take the nectar from a place of mixed elements. So that ability to take the good from even because they swim in ponds and sometimes places where the water's not clean, but they're able to curdle the milk. If there's milk there, they'll be able to take that away and leave the contaminated water behind. So the devotee walks through this world with that kind of an ability to see the good. It may only be a speck in an otherwise dramatically difficult environment, but a devotee will focus on that little bit of good and blow that up till it fills the canvas. That's a great encouragement for people. People are really discouraged out there. I don't know. Have you been outside lately? People are really sad. There's this gray mood out there. People are so sad. All the killings, all the shootings, all of the, parents separated from children. We don't have to go through the whole litany of woes that are going. The climate change, oh my gosh. we're all going to die, man. Really a very sad time right now. We are called upon as Rupanugas, as followers in the footsteps of the Goswamis and Srila Prabhupada, to see the good, magnify the good, and present that. There's a lot of good out there. As tragic as it may be, there are, just from a mode of goodness perspective, a lot of initiatives going on the ground. A lot of grassroots groups doing some amazing things, absolutely amazing. So it's usually the sad stuff that gets highlighted in the news reports. Why that instead of the good stuff that's going on? I don't know. Imagine if the morning news or the newspapers reported all the good things that are going on. What a difference that would make in the world. Just, wow, we can do something. There's an encouragement in that even little people like me, we can get out there and actually do something good. That's needed. That's needed in the world. So here's Prahlad being very philosophical for a child, saying that everything is enacted by the modes of material nature. Go to 3rd chapter, Bhagavad Gita, verses 5 and 27. Everything is being enacted by modes of nature. We're not actually doing anything except desiring. Once you desire something, the Material energy takes charge of helping you realize that, or defeating you from realizing that. We're more or less powerless to determine the outcome of things. We can make our best effort, but ultimately things are determined by Devi Hayesha, by higher authorities. Prahlad is making the point that I have personal experience of this. In the 23rd verse of this chapter, he says, I've been crushed by the wheel of time. What an amazing way of describing his life. Here is Prahlad Maharaj, Mahabhagavata, speaking to his beloved Lord and saying, this world has crushed me. You are time. And under the influence of time, I've just been devastated. And he elaborates. He's able to do that. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone has the objectivity to be able to look back on their lives and say, I was abused by my father. My parents didn't know what they were doing, bringing me up. My father was a horrible man. But here's Prahlad coming clean, presenting his situation quite eloquently, actually. That I've seen what I can do. So the first, what the material energy can do. So here's the first question that arises: how is it possible for a 5-year-old child to have such insight? These are, even adults don't reach this kind of psychological insight into why they've come to this particular place in their lives. Right? It's a more philosophical, theological perspective, you could say. We acknowledge that what happens in Krishna consciousness is that the inherent wisdom of the soul emerges. And that can happen at any time. It can happen in a child. It may be a rare exception. For example, look at the story of the 4 Kumaras, also very exalted, elevated souls. But because they had chosen voluntarily to stay in the body of children, because they didn't want to have to deal with sex life, they didn't want to have to deal with puberty, they didn't have to deal with, mortgages and house payment, whatever. They didn't want to have to deal with that adult life, so they voluntarily stayed in the body of children. Downside, you also have to stay in the mindset of a child. And so when they were stopped from entering Vaikuntha by the gatekeepers, they took offense. That was a childish reaction. We didn't get what we wanted. So we curse you. Got to be born in the material. So not all cases. Occasionally, rarely, once, you have someone as insightful and self-aware as Prahlad Maharaj, who can come clean and admit that here's my story. Here's where I am. Here's how I got here. Yes, I am a recovering abused child. So that's an extraordinary insight to be able to address the issues of his own life. And he admits in the 19th verse of this chapter that my parents, and he includes his mother here, my parents were unable to protect me. My mom was basically an enabler. She didn't know how to stop my father, and she didn't speak up. Yes, she tried to help me. She gave me good instruction when I was younger, but she couldn't stop it. So I've been crushed by my life experiences. And then he comes right out in the 29th verse and said, my father wanted to kill me. Can you imagine? My father tried to kill me. I get phone calls. So I'm switching gears here for a minute. I get phone calls from a lot of people trying to reconcile their life in Krishna consciousness, asking for advice. They don't know where to go. And say, look, Yogesvara, I'm in an abusive relationship. That's one call I got. Or someone else says, in our community there was a case of abuse, and it's devastated me, because in our devotee communities that's not supposed to happen. What do we do about this? The temple authorities aren't doing anything. So there are people confronting real life dilemmas, wondering what to do with that. Sometimes the calls are philosophical. Not too often. I'm doing a book on Mayapur, so I'm interviewing Ambarish for the story. And I asked him, I said, do people call you asking for advice? Because you're a senior devotee. He says, yeah, people call me asking for money. Sometimes they ask for advice, but mostly they call me. So sometimes, there are some philosophical phone calls. Most of the time it's very practical stuff, stuff from the past, stuff people are dealing with that happened way before they ever came to Krishna consciousness. We've brought our baggage with us, so to speak, into devotee life, and in some respects that's healthy, because as long as it's dealt with, better late than never. So if we accept that what bhakti does is a cleansing of the heart, where these things are supposed to come out, and deal with them, and better late than never. My mom is 93 years old. She's going to be 94 in September. Last month, she revealed to me for the first time that when she was 24 years old, she was raped. First time she ever told me that. Right? This is 70 years later. She's telling me about this. And I said, why are you telling me now? Why didn't you ever deal with this? She said, I guess I suppressed it. And then I was watching something on the news about what people are going through, and that memory just kind of came to mind. So very often we do that. We suppress these traumatic memories. We don't even remember why we behave the way we do. But we're stuck. And we can't make spiritual progress when we're stuck. Part of the evidence that you're chanting effectively, that you're performing your sadhana effectively, is not that all of these things will be suppressed or magically go away, but you'll actually be able to deal with them more effectively. That's not often talked about, But if what we're doing is cleansing the heart, you don't cleanse the heart by covering it over. So this may sound a little bit like, trying to meld pop psychology in with, Krishna consciousness. But this is an actual fact. I had conversations with Srila Prabhupada about this, and he was quite clear, that we're contending with conditions that have existed for many, many lifetimes, and at least a willingness to acknowledge where we are. I know many devotees from my generation as well as other generations. People have been doing Krishna consciousness for a very, very long time. And they posture, they pontificate. They're unable to have an open and honest relationship. And my heart goes out to them saying, my God, they've been in Krishna consciousness for 30 years, 40 years, whatever, and they're still terrified of having close relationships. They can't open their hearts. They're afraid of what they're going to find there. And yet that's what this is. Why is Prahlad saying, please give me the company of your pure devotee? What's he looking for there? Is he looking for a lot of verses? Is he looking for someone to impress him with their knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam? I don't think so. He's saying, give me the kind of company where I can speak my heart and where others are feeling comfortable enough to speak their heart to me. That's the association of devotees. My son is a pilot, and it took him years. He's been a pilot a long time now. He's 40. I think for 20 years he's been in aviation. It took him years to figure out, how do I deal with my co-pilots? How do I talk to people? I'm in the same little space for hours and hours, sometimes days. How do I talk to them? Do I preach Bhagavad Gita, or all these guys want to talk about is like stuff that I'm uncomfortable hearing them talk about it. It took him a long time to find a balance, a way to articulate his thoughts, to be respectful of the other person's position, and find common ground. That's an amazing skill. That's a devotional skill. Communications, effective communications that's a devotional skill. I would encourage those of you who are able, to take Raja Vihari's course coming up. What are the dates of that? November or something? 8th and 9th? Somewhere, like the first weekend or second weekend in November. Raja Vihari is going to be here giving a course on mediation training. Really, really encourage you to. It's a weekend course. It's Saturday and Sunday with an open class on Friday. 3 hours Friday and 8 hours Saturday, 8 hours Sunday. Very important. Very important to learn not only how to speak, but how to listen. How to get in between the words that people are saying. We're complicated creatures. We don't always say what's on our mind. We very often say around what's on our mind. And sometimes we'll say something diametrically the opposite of what's on our mind, because we're afraid to speak what's on our mind. So mediation training is an effective way of learning how to listen to people when they speak, so that you can really get a sense of what's the emotion behind the words, what's the actual challenge behind the words, and how to elicit that in a way that's safe and comfortable for the disputants in that mediation setting. So it's a wonderful skill. And very timely. I don't know whether you're aware of it. If you've been living under a rock for the last 3 years, there's some pretty animated discussions going on in this country right now about the abuse of power. Some pretty important talk about crime in office and the devastating toll that that's taking on our nation. So this isn't just a matter of our own personal spiritual progress. This is something that has global repercussions. Right? Very important subject. Wonderful verses in this chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to address any thoughts you might have.
I think our microphone doesn't work so well, so I'm not going to ask for it. But thank you so much for the words. And I'm just responding to something that you said a moment ago. We often hear about how the revolutionary overthrows the dictator and then puts themselves in the position of leadership and becomes another tyrant, another tyrannical, abusive personality. And we also know that we talk about how Krishna consciousness perfects the life, so that if you are trying to supplant evil, you don't implant yourself as the new evil. Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
I'd like you to unpack a little bit of that dynamic in work as we, Brother Vihari is going to come and talk
Yeah.
about confronting our inability to have these relations because we carry this baggage.
Yeah.
I'd like you to unpack that a little bit.
Wow, that's a challenging question. And Hladini Shakti Prabhu is asking you essentially about classical Hegelian dialectic. Hegel was a 19th century important philosopher who talked about thesis, antithesis, synthesis. What he says was that you have a thesis. The thesis is the status quo, what's going on right now. That, because it's material and materially motivated and selfishly motivated, always deteriorates to the point where it stimulates, it triggers a revolution, an overthrowing of the status quo. That's the antithesis. The revolutionary movement that overthrows the no longer acceptable status quo. Then that new regime comes in, and that antithesis becomes a synthesis. It becomes a kind of a combination of things, and before you know it, they are now the bad guys. And again, they've recapitulated the past, and the time comes for another revolution. When Prabhupada was in Moscow meeting with Professor Kotovsky, he had this very conversation. Kotovsky was describing Hegelian dialectic and saying, here in Russia, we have a different idea that, a classless society will be the ultimate situation. And then Srila Prabhupada was very candid in criticizing the communist regime. He said, yes, but you have everyone is equal, but some people in your communist regime are more equal than others. And they're enjoying the power, the authority, and the abuse of others, and that equality is not really taking place. When you come to Krishna consciousness, he said, this is the final revolution. This is the final revolution. Why? Because it is not materially motivated. If we do our job properly, we will create a society that is based on the kind of values that Prahlad Maharaj is espousing in this seventh canto. That I'm okay, my dear Lord, by your mercy, I'm okay. I don't care how bad it gets. I'm okay. We were talking about this last night at 26 Second Avenue. Tantenu kampasu samikshamanu. This is 11th canto Bhagavatam. Punjana evatma kritam vibhakam. Jiveto yo mukti siddhayabhak. My dear Lord, I deserve so much worse than what I'm going through right now. I can see you're like, ding. I deserve so much worse. I'm such a fallen fool. I've got no good qualities. Oh my God, I've hurt people. The things that I've done, I should just be condemned to hell. By your mercy, the reactions have been minimized. What I'm going through is nothing. It's a pinprick compared to what I deserve. Thank you for this. Queen Kunti, similar prayer. Thank you. Thank you for putting through this little bit of misery. If you have that mentality, Jiveto yo mukti sadayabhak. Dayabhak means your last will and testament from your parents that bequeaths to you your lawful inheritance from your father's estate. So your lawful inheritance from God is full Krishna consciousness, liberation from birth and death, if you have this mentality. That what I'm going through is... So if you have that mentality, I'm okay. That means what? If you're okay, then what? Then you can do what? If you're okay, if you don't have to be worried about getting something for yourself, then what are you capable of doing? You can serve others. You can listen with unqualified ears. You know how... we all know this, right? It's a little embarrassing. It's like you're talking to somebody, and in the back of your head you're thinking, okay, what can I get out of this? What's in this for me? What can this person do for me? Okay, they got that skill. I can use that. There's always this kind of manipulative background voice going on in our heads, like, what's in this for me? Pure devotee, they don't have that background dialogue going on. That's never there. And it's like, how can I serve you? Adi Prabhu.
I've heard it said that although we're meant to influence others, they come to devotional service. In one sense, if we actually get to the point of seeing things clearly, we're not trying to rearrange the world, but we're rearranging our consciousness.
Wow.
And then we see that everything's going on.
Wow, amazing.
Loving hand is there.
Yeah.
So
Very good point.
is asking us to come to that quality of consciousness.
Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna, for everything just as it is. How can I serve you in this way?
Yeah.
We can relax.
Yeah.
We're not like driving against the tide of
Yeah.
what's happening everywhere.
Right.
That everything is not horrible. That perfect.
Yeah.
Krishna knows what he's doing.
Yeah. That's a very, very elevated vision. Thank you for that.
But the thing is, to follow Prabhupada is like a daredevil. Evil,
He's a spiritual evil king. Taking impossible risks.
25 trucks or tries to jump in. First he broke every bone in his body.
That's right.
12 tons. So Prabhupada's like
His motorbike was material.
Prabhupada is like a daredevil, and we're supposed to follow, like you say, Mahajani, we're supposed to follow in the footsteps of a person like that. But he did such radical thing, and there's this one story we heard on the internet. This guy was going on a tightrope across the Niagara Falls, right?
Probably Philip Petit.
Way up in the air, and there were hundreds of people on his side. Before he went, he said, "Everybody think I can do this?" Everybody, "Yeah, we believe it. You believe I can do it? Yeah, you can do it." So he's going across, and it's very dangerous, and everybody's like, and it's in the wind, and then he gets all the other, "Oh, you did it! How do you go? How do you go?" And then he gets to the other side. He goes, "You know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going back across, and this time blindfolded. You think I can do it?" Everybody goes, "Yeah, you can do it. We believe you. We believe you. We believe you." And he said, "Okay." So he goes across blindfolded. It's also like very, very, very scary
No.
Nobody would do it. Prabhupada's like a daredevil. He'd say, all right, let's go. Come on, follow me. Accept this, and you'll be the best influence to please Krishna. But to follow something like that?
Well, here's the good news. You don't have to walk across Niagara Falls on a tightrope. That's the good news. The other good news is that he's done the hard stuff. He's not asking us to do what he did. Following in his footsteps doesn't mean leaving your family, leaving everything behind, coming to an unknown, hellish territory. He's done the hard work. He's asking us, please just do the basics. Be sincere, do the basics. Do that much, and Krishna will lead you to all the rest. You don't have to worry about, you're not making a big enough contribution. I had a conversation with him once about art, and asked him, what is art for a Vaishnava? What is art? He said, art is the ability to put something in its proper place for best utility. And it took about an hour of discussion because I couldn't figure out what he meant by that. So finally I realized what he was saying was, art in Vaishnav life is the art of, it's described in Bhagavad Gita, is the art of devotional life, the art of yoga. Is the ability to see the perfection of something by engaging it properly in devotional life. And I said, oh, so Srila Prabhupada, if I'm understanding you, what you mean is like anyone who does their service for Krishna with a full heart is an artist. He said, yes, exactly. I said, oh, so that means like a street sweeper, someone sweeping the street, but doing it with a full heart as an act of devotion. Yeah, that is an artist. That person is the true artist. So it's not a matter of mastering some kind of rare skills that only a few select people have. This is for everybody. This is for whatever your particular sphere is. We all have our little spheres of influence. People we know, the areas we like. Adi has been cultivating for years this extraordinary sphere of influence in New York. That ripples out, like a pebble thrown in a pond. Those waves go out and out and out, and that way, whatever the little thing that we do, it's connected to the entire universe. That's the vision that we cultivate in Krishna consciousness. We're connected to everything, through devotional service. We don't know. Don't judge what you're doing. Don't say, oh, I'm too small. I'm fond of quoting Anita Roddick, the late founder of The Body Shop, which is a company that takes products from indigenous peoples and stimulates local economy by opening and selling them here in the States. She used to say that if you think one person, one living entity is too small to make a difference, you've never been in bed with a mosquito. Never denigrate yourself by thinking that you're so small, that what difference do you make? How will Krishna ever see me? How will my spiritual master see me? Read Krishna book. There's a fruit seller just selling fruit, and Krishna can come to see her every day. So that was another thing I was asking Prabhupada once. I said, we're late, aren't we? Should I stop? What time is it? All right, last story. I said, why would anyone want to be anything other than a gopi? If the highest position is the gopis, why would anybody want anything? Prabhupada said, because in the spiritual world, whether you're a big glass or a little glass, when you're full, you're full. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
pritimanti pasyanti pam vikayanti chiram naganti ananda chinmaya sadhu jala vigrahasya govindam adi purusham amaham bhajami 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 govindam adi purusham
material suffering, maintain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus sound. Attachment to his lotus feet with affection fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with sentimental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. In him karma emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Veda Sutras sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy. Defend the poor and the Lord the Master to devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds, and we take shelter in your lotus feet.
Prabhupada ki